Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dinaspur Government Girls High School online class. Dear student, how are you? Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. Alhamdulillah, I am also safe and sound by Allah's grace. You know me. This is Arifa Jannat, assistant teacher, Dinaspur Government Girls High School. As before, I am here today to conduct your English first paper for class 6. My dear student, as we are going through pandemic due to COVID-19, we have to more cautious for our health. Moreover, winter is coming. So, fever, cold, cough, headache are now common health problems during pandemic and winter. To keep our health fit, we have to follow some steps, like we have to take some vitamins C. We have to drink warm water, gargle with warm and salty water, etc. Otherwise, we will be sick. So, my dear student, can you guess what is today's topic? Yes, today I will going to discuss lesson 9, and it is about health is wealth. As before, let's see the learning outcomes before starting the class. After completing the lesson, student will be able to ask and answer questions, participate in dialogues and conversation on familiar topics, read and understand written instruction, read and understand text. My dear student, are you ready for the class? So, take your textbook, notebook and pen. As our first paper is activity based, so let's start with the picture. In the picture, there are several digits shown. Here, my dear student, open at page 28. Here you can see 9 names of different diseases in a box, and 8 pictures related to the diseases. So, in activity A1, in activity A, we are told to choose a health problem from the box right next to the appropriate picture. There are names of more problems in the box than are necessary. Let's write the name. In the picture, we can see a man is holding his head. So he is suffering from a headache. Then we can see an old man wearing a glass. So he is suffering from a cough. Next picture we can see that a man is suffering from a backache. Then in the picture we can see a boy is holding his stomach. So we can see that he is suffering from stomachache. Next, in the picture we can see a man is holding a tissue before his nose. So he is suffering. So we can guess that he is suffering from a cold. Here we can see a girl holding his hand and the thermometer in his mouth. So we can guess that she is suffering from a fever. In the picture we can see another girl. She is suffering from a toothache. Next, in the picture we can see a little boy has fallen down and he had a skin injury. So it's about skin injury. So my dear student, we have to write down the name of diseases next to the appropriate picture. Thus, we have completed our activity A. Next, I am going to do activity A1. Here, we are told to work in pairs and ask and answer the following questions. It is not possible for us to work in pairs and groups. So, my dear student, you may complete it with the help of your parents or brother and sisters. And I will help you to show you the answer. Here I have written the answer for you. Have you had any of these or any other health problems recently? Which one or what? The answer is yes, recently I have had a bad cold, a fever, a cough. We can write any of the problems. Next question is, how many times have you been sick in the past year? The answer of the question will be, you have been seeks 3 times in the past year, or you can say I have been sick. Sorry, I have been sick 2 times in the past years, but twice in the past years. Next question is, what do you do when you have a headache or a cold or a toothache? What do you do when you have a headache? Answer is, when I have a headache, I usually take paracetamol and some rest. Next, what do you do when you have a cold? When I have a cold, I see a doctor and take prescribed medicine. What do you do when you have a toothache? In the case of toothache, we have to say, when I have a toothache, I see a dentist and follow his advice. These are the answers of activity A1. Now, my dear student, looked at page 29. Here we are told to look at some health problems, choose several pages of good advice for each problems. There are more pages of advice than problems. Let's do the activity B. In column, I have written the problems or name of problems, and I have to write the number of advices in this place. And here we can see 7 problems, health problems. So let's start. For a cough, we can take advice from A, that is, take some vitamin C. Number 8, gargle with warm and salt water. And number J, see a doctor. For the problem backache, we can take advice number E, put a heating pad on it. Number D, take enough rest. And number J, see a doctor. For the health problem, fever, advises DCJ are needed. D, about, take enough rest. C, drink lot of liquid. J, see a doctor if it increases. For the problem a toothache, we can write here number I, see a dentist. And D, take enough rest. For the problem a headache, we can write the number D. Take enough rest, and G number. Take some paracetamol. For the health problem, I burn. We can write the number B, F, and J. B, put some ointment on it. F, put it under cold water. And J, if it increases, see a doctor. For the flu, we can write the number D and J. D, take enough rest, and J, see a doctor. So, my dear students, now I am going to the next activity, C, that is C. Here we are told to work in groups, talk about the problems in section B and give advice. Try to give more than one piece of advice for each problem. Follow the model shown. Here, so I read the model. A, what should you do for a cough? B, you should gargle with warm water. C, it's a good idea to take some vitamin C. D, yes, and if it continues for long, you should see a doctor. E, well, I think it's good to avoid cold drink or ice cream. F, sometimes it helps too. My dear student, in model, we can see 5 imaginary person named A, B, C, D, E, F, 6 person. And ask the question for advices. And the other person like B, C, D, E, F give advices. So we have to follow the model and we have to continue it like this. I have written a model for you. What should you do for a backache? You should be, imaginary person B, you should take enough rest. C, it's a good to put a heating pad on it. D, well, if it continues, you should see a doctor. E, okay, you can also get some medicine from a drugstore. In the case of fever, we can say that what should you do for a fever? For a fever, here we have right D, C, J. That means take enough rest. C, drink lots of liquid. J, see a doctor. So we can write here the number according B, C, D. You should take enough rest. C, it's good to to drink lot of liquid. Well, if it increases, if it continues, you should see a doctor. Here we can say that okay, you should also avoid to drink cold water. In the case of toothache, you can write what should you do for a toothache. B. In the case of toothache, we have C, I and D. At first, you should see a dentist. C. You should take enough rest, or you can write it in another way. It's good to take enough rest. In the case of headache, we can write what should you do for headache. B. In the case of headache, we have write D and G advices, that is take enough rest and take some paracetamol. So you should take enough rest. C. It's good if you take paracetamol. In the case of burn, we have write the number of advices B, F and J. B, F and J. What should you do for a burn? What should you do for a burn? B. You should put it under cold water. You have to write it. You should put it, if burning place, we have to put it on under cold water immediately. C. You should put some ointment on it. In the case of C, we can write you should put some ointment on it. Then, if it increases, you should see the number. In the case of increases, you should see a doctor. So, my dear students, we are going to the next. Now I am going to the next activity, that is about D. Please open page at 30. Here we can see activity D. Here we are told to work with a partner in groups. Make a short conversation about each problem and its remedy in the box below. So we can see the problem: an insect bite, the stomach ache, a burn, a skin injury. And next to the problem, we can see remedy. Antiseptic, A. Antacid, Bernal ointment. Antiseptic. At picture 30, learners, you can see two imaginary person, A and B. They are talking about the problems and the remedy. Here we have to follow the model shown. A. Have you ever had an insect bite? B. Oh yes, I had one just last night actually. A. What did you do? B. I put some antiseptic on it. So we have to write, we have to follow the problems and make a dialogue with our partner. and I have made a dialogue for you. Here we can see for the problem stomach ache. Imaginary person A asked, have you ever had a stomach ache? Yes, I had 2 years ago. In this line you can say 2 weeks ago, a few days ago, 2 months ago, any time you can write here. A. What did you do then? B. I took antacid. Remedy we have to take. For remedy we have to take in this chart. Have you ever had a burn? Oh yes, few days ago. What did you do? I put Barnol ointment on it. We have to choose remedy from this chart, my dear student. Have you ever had a skin injury? Yes, I had. In fact, 3 months ago. What have you done with it? I have put some ointment, antiseptic on it. In the model, we can see that imaginary person A asked questions and B answered the following the question. So, my dear students, we'll meet soon next week with the same lesson, because I am not able to complete the lesson in this short time. Inshallah, we'll meet soon. Assalamu alaikum.